I am Syntax Sugar, and today I will be highlighting and explaining what I've learned in a month of learning Elixir. So, first off, I'll continue from where the 10 days video stopped. It's functions and modules. So, the project I decided to make is just an Elixir module with different functions that really deal with words and text files, kind of like a word count and the most repeated word. To a person coming from an object-oriented programming background, which was me, modules are just like how I think of them is just classes without the variables and only methods without constructors. So it's kind of like C structures. So function definitions also allow for pattern matching, which really strikes me as interesting and a great feature of functional programming. So here, we can look at a module. It's just a very simple one that deals with summing lists. So I do list summer.sum, and then list summer goes into this function, and it goes to some list of lists. And here we have two of these. Def p is private, and def is the one that you can call outside of the module. So here we have two, and it's going to match to the one that has head and tail, since we do have two parts of it. So our tail, we're going to do another sum list with the tail and add the head, the element of the head, which is going to be 2 for the first one out, and add it to head, yeah. So then we have car sum of 0, and then we get 2, and then we go back in here, and then we get 7, and then for the and then we go for the next one, should be 6, and then at 6 we go through here, and then finally we print it out. We return car sum in this one. Then we have the pipe operator, which is a very interesting operator in Elixir, which kind of writes like this way you can double up parentheses a lot more, I think, an eloquent and elegant way, which is a feature I love, and you can see that by the thumbnail. So we also have enumerators, and these are pretty much the bread and butter of my program, and it really is a fundamental part of functional programming. The enum module in Elixir handles most of what you'll ever need to do with lists or tuples or any kind of enumerable, and this makes writing the function that we had here pretty redundant, and we can see what you can do. So here, 2, 5, and 6, we have a list, and then we do reduce. Reduce just basically has an accumulator, and then we're going to run each function with the accumulator, and then we're running the addition function. This is the capture operator, so it's basically do addition on each one. So I'm going to get 2 plus 5 plus 6, and then it's going to print 13. And here we have double pipe operators. And this, you can see, is 3 lines compared to how many lines are row. And we have a lot of another 2 very important enumerables, new functions, which are the map function, which just applies the function to each element of the list and then returns the list, with each element having the function applied to it. So we're going to get 2, 4, and 6. And filter only returns the list elements that return true for the given function. So here this basically checks if it's even, and then it's only going to return 2 and 4. And finally, I really want to showcase what I was able to create. And although it's a very small program, I think how I wrote it is very it contrasts what I'm used to in object-oriented programming. So here we can see we have the parse word, which is basically the function that runs everything. It takes the file path, it reads it, it then splits up the string into each little character, and then I'm going to filter out everything that is not that is a punctuation. So I basically check if it's one of these, because I don't want words to have a comma in them. And then we change that back to string, and then we downcase it so I don't miss I capital and I small and mistake them as 2 words. And then I split back into a list. And here we have the word count, which just does parse words, and then enum.count is another one, which just basically counts how many elements in the enumerable are there. And count of finds how many of X are there, and we can use another version of count, which is overloading, and it checks our function will only return the amount of those that return true for this function. So it's going to be only those that are equal to what I inputted x in the enumerable of parse words. And finally, the repeated order is just the order of the most common words. So here we have file path, and then we go into parse word, and enum.sort by is just sorting by count of, and it's going to go from an ascending order. And then I remove any duplicates, and then I reverse it. So I'll have the greatest at the beginning, and then I intersperse, which basically, when I print it, I can just have spaces in between each word. And that's about it. Yeah. And here you can see an example. I had some lorem ipsum text, and pretium would return 5. And a lot of pipe operators, as you can see, which is, I think, the coolest feature of Elixir, if I were to take anything from it. And what have I gained? Looking back, really, learning Elixir just makes you think of how many ways tasks can be done with different tools. Like, I would never have thought to just place a bunch of functions after each other with no for loops to read through a text file. And really, the pipe operator is my favorite, as I said before. And although I don't see myself using Elixir because I don't see its application in, I know it's very popular in web development, but sadly I'm not very fond of that space. And I don't think that this time is spent, like the time I spent learning Elixir is lost, because really these paradigms and these concepts and these standards can be taken really to any language. And I did gain some ideas that I was unfamiliar with in the past. And I want to end it here, and I'm very sorry for not being able to keep up with the 10-day schedule, but I've had 2 exams for 2 weeks. But I was able to create this small program, and I hope you enjoyed my journey learning Elixir. And I think this might be the last video highlighting my Elixir journey. And for the next 10 days video, I'm thinking about looking into linear regression, because I really think it's underlooked and understudied, because it's a very powerful tool that is implemented in everywhere in machine learning world. And that's it. See you later.